their leader brought here. I want him brought to me. I want the revolution crushed.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mamluks. My name is Sim. Along with me are my co-hosts Sheikh Amir.
Assalamu alaikum.
And the one and only Sheikh Omar.
Assalamu alaikum everyone.
Sheikh Omar.
Thank you all for listening in today. We have an exciting show for you guys. Before we get started, help us out on patreon.com/Mamluks. We are entirely supported by you. We don't have any annoying commercials or anything like that interrupt the flow of the discussion. You know, when you put on a podcast, you just want to. Sometimes you're on the treadmill, right? And then all of a sudden you hear AG1 and stupid.
AG1.
Like, man, I'm working out. Like, I can't even skip the commercials. But
yeah,
we think about you.
Yes, we do.
Because we're humanitarians, mashallah. And we would appreciate you hopping onto patreon.com/Mamluks and dropping a few bucks our way. All right?
Inshallah.
Thank you
We're
all.
unpaid humanitarians.
Unpaid.
Make sure that's clear. We're not taking any of your zakat money.
That's true.
It's going straight to the studio.
There's a lot of conversation around that these days. There's people taking the zakat money for themselves. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. God forbid they take money as going to Palestine.
They're doing that too.
I doubt that. No one would do that. No one has a heart to do that.
You expect them to help other people out for free? It's a new concept.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, we'll get to it later. We tend to talk in code. All right. Yeah. So the big news of the day is the Epstein files being released. 3 million documents. A whole bunch of the 3 million is redacted. But there's also this whole like 75% more documents that haven't been released that the Department of Justice says is due to protecting the victims of the crimes. Well, right now the little bit that's been released is really bad and it's creating a firestorm, and I don't know what to make of it because it's so much information all at once, and I think part of it is just that the strategy is that to overload the public with so much information they don't even know what to do with it. There's information related to child exploitation,
Eating
sexual abuse,
drinking blood.
Yeah, sacrifice, cannibalism. There's all kinds of depravity that you think that like after you saw the carnage of Gaza that there's no way human beings can be as horrible as what they did to the people of Gaza, but these are thousands and thousands of women who were trafficked to this island, and essentially at the request of a foreign government, because there's a lot of conversations or communications between Jeffrey Epstein and Ehud Barak, and there's even instances where they were laughing about being Mossad agents, or saying that or denying that they're Mossad agents when they're kind of like winking at each other that we're
just let them
both
know
Mossad.
that I don't work with Mossad. Wink, wink, yeah.
So there's this element of a state actor behind it, that's creating like a network of what you would think is a fixer, someone who gets you in touch with people to get certain jobs done, certain business deals made. There's usually a person like that in many businesses. There's someone like that, but this person seems like he was much more beyond that. Like he could get you in touch with your most disgusting desires, and then use that as blackmail over you, right? So they're prominent names of politicians, from Bill Clinton to Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump is in the files like thousands of times. His name is mentioned, and he's saying that like he's completely acquitted of it. He's like, yeah, there's this saying I'm in the clear. Like, what are you talking about? You're in the clear. Your name is all over this.
According to Jamie Raskin, the official count they said was he's in there more than 38,000 times.
30.
What?
No, that was the official count.
Yeah.
Until yesterday, Jamie Raskin, who looked at it, which Axios reported, says he's in there more than 1 million times.
How does that happen? How is one person mentioned 1 million times?
Well, when he's the star of the show,
Yeah, I mean, he was probably the most.
it was about him. Okay, it's because this whole conspiracy is about him. Haven't you heard that he was actually working for the government and he was against Epstein?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember hearing that.
He wanted to turn him in. That's why he's in there. So he was the informant that they planted.
No, this is beyond belief, man. Like we were mentioning before the show, every conspiracy theory that you've ever heard about an evil shadow government and those who are pulling strings in the back and those providing services for people who are in influence and bringing them in to blackmail them or just giving them services because they're the upper echelon and they can do whatever they want to do and the rest of the human race can't do it. That's what was being provided for them. That was an understatement for the past 200 years of what is in this now. Even the code words, man. I wish I never saw like those code words. They were so disgusting. And them laughing and joking about this stuff.
Well, first, let's give the audience some backdrop because a few years ago, I don't know how many years, but around 2008 or 9, I can't remember, but there was this whole Pizzagate conspiracy that was just like rumblings of like, hey, a lot of this conversations happening where communications from the White House about ordering 10,000 hot dogs or and pizzas and stuff, and like ridiculous like coded language. Like nobody talks about pizza. Like how many times have we talked about pizza being friends? Like we just don't talk about it. Like
just order it when you're here.
If like unless like we're having a
Super Bowl,
an event or something, right? So people started making fun of it, like, oh, look at those silly conspiracy theorist people. They think pizza is a code word for child exploitation, right? And I have to be careful with the words I'm using, guys. I'm not trying to like massage or make it softer, but because of YouTube's algorithm, you have to be very careful with the words you use. But because of the nature or at least the context of why they're using the word pizza, the conspiracy theorists are like, hey, something's not adding up. These guys are talking about something else, and we think that they're talking about pizza. Like it doesn't make sense. So the media and other people started just making fun of all these people. Like, okay, well, look, they called it Pizzagate, and there's like this pizzeria in Washington D.C. where they order these children from, basically. It turns out now that the whole pizza thing was true, that there is all kinds of language across these files about pizza, like pizza and grape soda and pizza and like just weird, strange context. Like who talks about that? You know, I really enjoyed the pizza and grape soda last night. Like, who says that? Anyway, so it seems like there's a whole lot of this type of language, and as well as beef jerky or jerky itself, which may be code for cannibalism for human flesh. So that there's a lot of stuff that I don't think even the conspiracy theorists knew about. Like who knew about jerky?
They wouldn't imagine their wildest imaginations.
Yeah.
And that word conspiracy theory, now you understand why people accuse the CIA of creating the word conspiracy theory in order to make people look crazy, when it's like a cushioning that they have because they know all the craziness that happens behind closed doors with superpowers and just powers in general, that all this corruption has to happen for everything to stay afloat for them.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have to satisfy the sickness within them, because, and we can get into all of that, what they implement and what they need and what they consider success as far as money and how they're going to attain it. and how much people desire money, and what length they're going to go to for that, and how to supply everything to satisfy their Iblis Dajjalic desires in order to take care of that. And they know that very well. So why not have an island? Right?
Yeah.
The other thing is I would ask people to just look up Dr. Longo on YouTube. He's actually specialized in the history of Florida. And when you listen to him talking about Florida and how Florida became Florida the way it is now, you'll understand why Zionism is so strong in Florida. It's not just because of weather. That's just a small bit of it. But what are you showing us here?
Epstein ordered this $2,000 painting of the called The Slaughter of the Innocents for his. So it looks like there's a whole lot of children who are being slaughtered here. Sorry about the imagery. I know there was some botox there, as there is with some European paintings. But he was ordering this for his ranch, and I think it says over here where they're planning to hang it up. Okay, here. It's so odd. Like, some of the language here is really strange. Yeah, I want to zoom it in for the listeners. 1 second.
I think he knew. Look. He was dealing with all kinds of people, right? He was dealing with millionaires, billionaires, political figures. I don't think not everyone was at the same level when it came to like the use of technology and the use of code words and stuff. That's why some of the emails you see, like, it's written so plainly, and others it's so coded that people are still trying to figure it out.
Jeff, it says right here, Jeffrey is, so they're talking to the dealer of the art piece. Jeffrey's asking if you can FedEx the painting he had made of the massacre of the innocents to the ranch. It's the large 9x9 canvas that we had rolled out for him to see in the entryway where they are killing babies. He wants to use it on the ranch and is hoping you could FedEx it to arrive by Wednesday. Like, what does that mean? That we had rolled out for him to see in the entryway where they are killing babies. This is a legit document.
That is crazy.
Maybe it's describing that picture they want.
Strange stuff like this. It's all over these files.
But for the common folks, if they just take everything at face value, then I think the conclusion you can reach is that, man, a lot of these millionaires that are billionaires, no matter how rich you can get, no matter how much money you have, you can still never resist a good pizza. They were having a lot of pizza parties there.
No, and I remember when
with the white tuna.
That was crazy. And the email, I'll come tomorrow and take care of it, or whatever he said. I'll discard of it, or whatever he said, of the white tuna. And is that where they linked, where Donald Trump was accused of ordering this lady to be killed? And is that the same one, or is that
that's a different email? I think
that's a different email. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look, I was talking to one of my friends, one of my old friends, a couple of days ago, and he said, as Muslims, I think the first thing we should do is talk to our parents and also talk to our teachers and apologize to them.
Yeah.
Apologize to them because, we've heard this a lot of times. Anytime we told them something, they used to tell us that, they used to tell us some crazy story about some conspiracy, and we used to tell them, no, it's not like that. Trust me, you don't understand how the world works. And especially in the Desi culture, we were told that everything was a sazish, sazish, which is
Yehudi conspiracy.
Yeah, Yehudi sazish, which is a conspiracy, and
we used to laugh at them. We're like, I read Noam Chomsky. I know what I'm talking about. I understand. Now, Noam Chomsky showed up in the Epstein files. Like, what do you know, actually?
Yeah, they were under-exaggerating. There was no exaggeration. They were actually being very generous. It was much worse.
So we need to apologize to them, to our elders, that they were right. We
Yeah.
were wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is just based on what the small little bit of information that we know right now. Like, I mean, I think there's we know there's a lot more that's there. I think eventually it's gonna come out. I don't think it's gonna be hidden. I know, like, I understand there's a lot of distraction that's happening right now, even with the hearing today that happened. Like, there's just so much to get through. I think part of what you said is correct, that the strategy is let's overwhelm everyone with so much information they don't know, like, what to focus on, because everything is crazy.
Yeah.
What crazy part
the
do we
dilemma
need
with
to
that
focus
is
on?
no, almost look. The dilemma with that is that when people even gather a few snippets, they're not going to be able to research what you do or what and many other people do as far as analysts of this devote their lives to reporting on this, right? So they might just see like a few posts or a few screenshots of this communication, and they're actually going crazy. People are like losing mistrust. There's so much mistrust with the American people and the world at such a level now. It's astronomical, right? And especially with the story of Hind, like all the stuff that came out about her. I forgot her complete name, and she seems to be somebody that was ended up being like a victim or something. There's all this like speculation about her of what actually is her role. They're claiming that she was another Ghislaine Maxwell. There's some people that were claiming she was actually a victim and she was forced to do all of this because the style in which they speak about her. All that being said, we can talk about
that's the first time I'm hearing that she may have been a victim.
Yeah.
According to what little that has been made public, she doesn't appear to be the victim.
She doesn't.
She
She
appears
doesn't.
to be.
Some
the
people
one.
no. The theory is that people were claiming that she had been groomed and that she became what she became eventually. That's all I'm saying. But that's not even important. That was a distraction. I apologize. But what I'm saying is this. What do you guys think now about everything that came out now? The theory that...
Well, let's give the listeners who don't know about who Hind is. Hind al-Owais was a human rights diplomat appointed in the United Arab Emirates. She initially started gaining influence by developing a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and there was some communication back and forth, and eventually comes to the point where she wants to introduce her kid sister to Epstein. So she's like 12, 13 years old or something. And
She's prettier than me.
and she says in the communication that she's prettier than me. Like,
But she's a victim.
so I mean, these are people who are, I don't know, like,
Least, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. Remember I was telling you, guys, like 6 months ago, these people who are responsible, if all this is true, which a lot of it seems like it is, if this is true about the, adrenochrome and drinking their blood and the kids getting to the state of terrorizing them, and then
well, tell the listeners what adrenochrome is.
Adrenochrome is basically, the theory is that the amount of adrenaline and other chemicals that are released into the blood when somebody is in a state of complete fear and shock and terror, when the blood starts pumping, you have to bring them to that level, and then you drain their blood, and then you consume the blood to give you a certain type of euphoria. And it's used in like cult ceremonies where they would, for instance, gather around. This is so crazy. They would gather around and bring a child into it should be like a young age, like fresh adrenaline instead of like an old person. And this is where the child thing comes in, is where you torture them and terrorize them to a degree. And when they're in that state, then you would kill them and drain their blood, or even drain their blood and later on kill them and consume them. Is it would consume their blood, and it would give all the people in the circle passing around the blood a state of euphoria, and then talk about whatever they want to talk about, or do whatever they want to do, and just be promiscuous, whatever they want to do, whatever they do in their degenerate satanic rituals, right? The dilemma is now that when this happens, there's only one maestro that can be responsible for that, and that's Iblis.
Yeah. I don't want to divert too much, because we were just talking about Hind al-Owais. And so there's about 469 pieces of communications between her and Jeffrey Epstein dating back to 2011. And she's a famous feminist now in Dubai, where she's talking about how important it is to bring women's rights. And it's just so odd that she's in this role where she's talking about women's rights while pimping her sister out. and possibly
Now we know
you
the
know
people who promote this, where they're actually coming from, and who are the people that are pushing them.
Yeah.
The power that she gets from Jeffrey Epstein and the UAE and world leaders now, these people are the ones that want her to promote these things,
yeah.
right? This is where this stuff comes from. It's not like pure human movements that are to give women's rights. No, there's people that are benefiting from this, and they need these things to occur for their agenda to work properly of what they want to see in this world,
Yeah.
right? So it doesn't make any sense to me that these people who are the heads of this, that they don't like. Iblis is the one giving them instructions, and they're the ones carrying this out and making Iblis happy. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I can think that would. It's no excuse, obviously, but what else? Where else are they getting these ideas from, right?
Yeah.
And every conspiracy theory, quote unquote, that you heard, this is how much of percentage do you think that this is of what? Not forget about the Epstein files. Of the Epstein files and actually the stuff that happens, do you think that some people are claiming, what if this is just scratching the surface of what happens? This is just one island, and like this is what kind of is meant to come out. And that's another conversation of like why it's coming out now in such rampant fashion. But what do you think this is a percentage of what we've seen?
I don't know. I think it's a small percentage of what really happened, but I believe that all of it is going to come out sooner or later. Hence, you just said I was with the best, the best meme that I saw over the last week was Iblis going through these files. Okay, Iblis going through the Epstein files, and he was surprised by what he was seeing to the point where Iblis himself said, "A'udhu billahi min al-insanir rajim." I seek refuge from the insan, the cursed one.
Wow.
Because Iblis himself could not have thought about all the things that were happening there that these guys were doing.
Yeah. That's
If we are to believe what everything was happening, was indeed what was happening, because some of it is just so hard to believe. But there's evidence to it. There's evidence for it, right? Like pregnancies, abortions that were. Why does he have like these the medical devices that are over there? What do they call it? Ultrasound machines. All of those things. What's the need for that if all the guy is doing is just getting a good massage?
Yeah.
What's the I mean that's what the story was. Yeah. He just wanted a massage.
Yeah. Just wanted a massage.
All right, and that's what they were looking for. So, but what's the use of a ultrasound machine in there, for example, and abortions and killing of the babies, eating of the babies, drinking of the blood, burying bodies.
Did you see this? They have a trap door on the island.
Crazy.
That leads to the ocean. So there's a trap door in his home, and underneath the trap door is just the ocean. So you just get rid of people through this trap door. That is wild. Or maybe you dissolve their bodies and drop them into the ocean. So because he ordered like hundreds of gallons of sulfuric acid.
Of course, that's what it's for. Of
Yeah.
course, it's
No. You guys are wrong.
No.
Steve Bannon cleared that up for us. Okay, he told us the reason why that acid was ordered was because it was used to make crystal meth. Okay, so we're at a point now where making crystal meth was okay versus dissolving the bodies. Okay,
Did Bannon actually say that?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when's Bannon talking? Where is he talking? Does he have his own?
It was the last
podcast?
interview that actually, last appearance I think that Epstein ever had in an interview was with his interview with Steve Bannon. Do you remember what year that was in?
No, I don't.
2012 maybe. You can look it up, but so check this out.
Actually, sorry. No, Bannon did not clear that up. Another person cleared that up. Another credible person, Roger Stone. Roger Stone said a receipt where Bannon bought the acid. Okay, but according to Roger Stone, chemists tell me that the hot tub was most likely used to make crystal meth rather than dissolving his enemies.
Why would he make crystal meth at his island when he can just get it from
Maybe it goes
white
well
people
with,
in America.
He's in Florida, dude. You know how much drugs are there?
Yeah.
maybe it goes well
No,
with
but why
pizza
would
and
he
ice
be
cream.
involved
Yeah,
with
I
that?
know.
Like,
Yeah, I know.
There's no need to, yeah, because drugs is usually invites a lot of federal attention, and that's a very difficult to.
But even that, bro, like imagine the sign off this guy had to commit. If he had the world leaders there and American main leaders of whatever influence and like the Bill Gates and all these people that you're rubbing shoulders with, you can get away with anything,
Yeah.
right? Like all the people, like why is Donald Trump responsible for all branches of the government now, which has never happened in American history, right?
He's not.
You can get away with anything, and whoever you want to get away with anything can, because the judges are all yours now, right?
Yeah.
So even if drugs were there, drugs is nothing, dude. Like these guys can get away with getting like. You think they're gonna get federal attention by having drugs? That's a nothing.
Yeah.
So the sulfuric acid thing is obviously
So
for
the
human beings.
listeners are seeing the wire transfer request for sulfuric acid in
Sulfuric
the
acid.
actual Epstein files. 6 55-gallon drums, sulfuric.
Wow,
That's a lot of
Acid.
crystal meth they were making.
that's just for human bodies.
But you know what? On another note, I think some of this has to be supported by evidence. We cannot just go by everything that's in the emails, because some of the emails are from Epstein to himself or from others talking about stuff. Some of it can be used, like he was basically future-proofing it to use as blackmail for some of the people that he was dealing with. And the example that I can think of is about Bill Gates, right? The email that's there, he's talking about. Let's think about this now. Bill Gates at that time, even now, I mean, he's one of the richest people in the world, right? He could buy anything he wants, buy anyone he wants. He can do anything he wants. There's no nothing that's gonna stop him, right? According to Epstein, when Gates visited him, apparently he caught a STD. I don't know how that happened while eating pizza and ice cream, but somehow it happened. Okay, and he was asking Epstein if he can give him some medication that he can slip in to his wife so she doesn't get impacted by it. My question is, why is Bill Gates asking this guy to get some medication for him that he can give to his wife? When I'm sure he has other resources that he can utilize.
I don't think he did. That's the thing.
No, the records though. He doesn't want it on, he doesn't want it on records though.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's a multi-billionaire.
You're true, though. That's
Yeah, but when you're a multi-billionaire, you only have a few close confidants you can trust with information, right? When you have,
But it's not going to be the guy that you're seeing to do things that you're supposed to do.
I don't think
that you're not supposed. That you're not
Can I
supposed
say
to be
something
doing.
really
Yeah.
quick? Jeffrey Epstein. I hate saying his freaking name, bro. That's a problem with like talking about people. You like talk about them and like it increases their popularity.
Call him the money manager. He managed people's money.
Exactly. He's a money manager, but also he's a man of connections, right? All these people liked him because he had connections. So he made people feel, and he was known for doing this, that's why he's a very satanic person. He made people feel that he's going to take care of all of their issues for them, anything that arises on the island, everything. I'll be your handler and nothing's going to happen to you. I have all this power. I got the presidents, I got the prime ministers, they're all in my back pocket. You have nothing to worry about. You want to do this? I got this for you. That's what I was thinking. But it's a great thing that you bring up, though. If he has all that money, that's a valid point, too, that you can... But
no, I genuinely believe it's the same thing that applies for us in a lower economic status would apply for rich people. The guy you would ask for drugs on the street corner, you would ask like, hey, I was looking for this thing too, this other drug. Do you think you can get it for me? Because you're already in a relationship with him, and you already have built some
rapport,
sort of confidence with each other to supply whatever you need. I think it would work the same way in a higher income bracket.
No, I think so too. To be honest with you, I can totally see both sides.
Because the less people that know about something, the less likely it is to get out.
That's true. That's a human thing. If you're going to somebody, you might as well. If they know your evils, you might as well go to them. Right.
So
the other thing is this. I just want to ask you guys this because I said it's meant to come out. Like the rate that is coming out at now. What do you guys think about this theory? Because like who's behind? The theory is that the CIA is behind a lot of this stuff coming out intentionally, and promoting it coming out is because they're trying to clean house. they know this is a theory that I had read and I heard that they know that Washington and the government has a Jew problem, and they're trying to clear the problem out by having all this come out because of all the negativity that is brought to America. America's reputation is tarnished forever. It's never going to be the same, especially after the Gaza thing and the people, and they're never going to be able to, like, can you imagine Donald Trump now after all these files going out and asking for people to vote for him?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a third term and a Nobel Peace Prize, and like that. Nobody believes any of that anymore. Now,
No. You'd be surprised. People would still vote for him.
Not the same amount though.
No,
you know
they
why
will.
it is? The people that supported him before hate him now because of the
Not
Epstein files.
everyone.
Not everybody.
Not everyone.
I would say that his die-hard group of supporters have been cut down to a third of what they were before.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. All of this is just a distraction. They will still support him. It's difficult to understand and difficult to explain. They will still support him.
No, I think just because I don't think they wanted to come out. I think because of Massey and Ro Khanna pushing for this,
Had to
pressing
be
this.
a Desi guy.
It's forced their hand. They put them in a very difficult political position, and Congress in difficult political positions not to release it, because they would look bad in front of their constituents that, hey, they're all going to block this bill from passing. So effectively, it was a really good political maneuvering with Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna to make sure that this bill gets passed. And Donald Trump didn't want to be the one who looks like he's trying to hide something, so he signs it. And I think with more political pressure, I think and public pressure, I think it's now about public pressure. It's not even about Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna. Just have to watch the public just rise and get angry. If the public gets complacent and it's like, oh well, rich people are freaky and they ignore it, well, then they're just going to give them everything they need to brush this under the rug. But I don't think with the steam that this story is carrying, this is like the mother of all conspiracies. Like any conspiracy theory you could think of is dwarfed by what is going on with this, because if this is just a small percentage of the documents, what they're hiding has to be incredibly damaging. And
they're saying they're hiding it to protect the victims.
Yeah.
But when in the 3 million documents that they released, they redacted everyone's name except the victims.
No, that's just a selling point. Nobody believes that.
Yeah.
I don't think they believe it either, but I agree with you. I think people are waking up and realizing, like, this is not going to go away. I think media is also complicit in this to a large extent. Like, even if you people who follow the news every day, we do, I know others do. Even if you look at the mainstream media for the past week, when this is the biggest story that has that's out there in a long time, what's the mainstream media focusing on? They're focusing on Savannah Guthrie's mom missing.
Or ICE.
Or ICE.
ICE, what else has been...
I mean, that's what happens when the Zionists buy out all these media organizations, Paramount and NBC and whatever else there is out there, and these conglomerates. They are able to help people focus on... That's the reason why they love the media so much and there's no real journalism anymore.
No.
Journalists are supposed to be somebody who don't work for anybody. They work for themselves, or their small little agency of delivering news and real information to you. Imagine all these organizations, these companies, they're not real journalists. They're not allowed to talk about certain things because they're paid by people who have national interests, right? That's not what journalism is.
I think if anyone is doing any journalistic work today, I think it's the late night shows. It's the comedians. Really, what they're talking about, mainstream media is not talking about. Like Daily Show and Tonight Show and all those shows. Even though it's not 100%, is much better than what mainstream media is talking about.
It is a low bar, but at least I mean, those are the only people that are actually talking about it, and obviously stand-up comedians. People who have been disenfranchised, alternative media. That's what. Remember, like a year ago,
Drop Site News is doing great stuff.
Drop Site News, but remember,
Breaking Points,
even Breaking Point. But remember, maybe actually 2 years ago, that whole rumbling that was in Washington about alternative media is the biggest threat to American democracy. They try to like disenfranchise
Yeah.
alternative media of all these YouTube channels that are doing real journalism, and try to stigmatize these people. And this now we understand the reason why.
Yeah.
I think some of them are realizing that this whole thing that we've been telling everyone, the whole world knows about the freedom of press in our country, maybe it's actually not that good after all.
No, no.
You know,
it's
I mean,
a
they're
crazy thing.
openly saying it now, right? Like they want to limit it, they want to control it, and it goes against their 250-year history of what they have been telling the world. You know,
Yeah.
freedom and
The
democracy.
reputation is
They
something
hate
else.
us because of our freedoms.
But what do you do? What do you do? Like, obviously, people are still, en masse, not living below a certain poverty line, right? And people are afforded lots of luxuries still, right? And yes, the reputation is tarnished, but do you think this is something that brings about major change? Like, I can't imagine that after all this goes through, that there's going to be a lot of ways to pacify people and make sure that.
I think with enough pressure, the funding and the money that you take from APAC will become toxic for a lot of politicians. It's already
already
becoming.
happening,
It's already happening,
Yeah.
and I think that in itself is a huge victory. But there's still a long way to go before APAC's influence is gone. They're just very powerful, very wealthy. They have, pretty much an unlimited supply of money.
Yeah.
And they're going to be working hard to take down Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey's districts. They're going to fund the opposition, and it's going to be up to people like us, everyone who supports people who don't want infiltration from Israel into Congress to fund these politicians, and it's a difficult situation without them getting funding. I mean, you can't just be on the sidelines. It's all hands on deck now. Anyone who wants to be on Team Human, forget about Team anyone's religion. Are you on the side of humanity? That's where we're at. We're at this juncture where we're looking at two places. Do you side with humanity or do you side with people who worship Satan? That's it. I mean, or Satan's minions or his, the different demons and stuff, Baal or whatever the hell. This is the craziness that we're at. And I don't believe that was a typo. People are saying that that Baal was a typo on Jeffrey Epstein's bank account.
Who's saying that?
Yeah, there's a bunch of people online. They're saying, "Oh, that was a typo," and because they're scanning the documents over the
So it should
scanner.
have been single A versus double A?
Yeah,
Or what?
how does BANK? It's already there. Isn't bank already there? And so how does BAAL? Because you don't see typos like that other places. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, can you guys explain the ball? Because maybe not everyone doesn't know
So
about.
there's a document that came out related to Jeffrey Epstein's bank account, and there was the word Baal, Baal, which is a demon that is mentioned in the Quran. That Allah is asking the people, "Why are you? Can you give me?"
I don't know, to be honest with you. What part of the Quran?
Why would you worship Baal? It was like to the people of Idris. Do you guys know? Off the top of your head, I can pull it
no,
up.
off the top of my head,
Is that
no.
what
But
it's
it
referring to?
is mentioned in the Quran. Yes, why do they worship Baal and not Allah?
No,
Oh,
do
with the
you-
Ain.
yeah.
Do you call upon Baal and abandon the best of the creators?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know. That's what I thought. Okay.
Shit, where were you, bro?
No, I didn't know it was the
You
one
missed
with the Ain. I was like, wait, what? I was like, where's Ba? I thought it was like Ba Alif Lam. Like, what's Ba Alif Lam?
This
Okay.
is Surah Safat.
Wow. Okay. But anyways, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So people started laughing at all those crazy religious people, the Muslims and Christians, because there was both Muslims and Christians. It's in the Bible and the Quran about Baal. And look at them. They're there they go again, taking a typo out of context. Like, that's a hell of a typo. First of all, like, because the typos that were there in the documents are like ampersands and the and sign, and like weird characters would show up. Not like full letter typos. At least from what the documents that I saw, I didn't see full out like completely different words.
Man.
So, so yeah, last night I think, or yesterday, the people in Iran, it looks like their internet is back and they're getting the Epstein files.
Wow.
So they're having some
I
fun.
didn't even know their internet was still out.
I don't know if it was still. But it was,
That's crazy. Meaning up until that point they got it back. I just thought that was, like a small thing that they had, episode they had. I don't know. It was like a lengthy
oh no
period of
no no.
time.
Yeah. They had the internet was out for several days. Here we go. So here's the ball burning ceremony that's happening in Iran. They built a whole statue of Baal. Let me see if they have the whole. This is what the statue looked like before. So I don't know if it's. I think that's haram to build it to begin with. No, I don't know. This is such a confusing thing because you're not supposed to build.
Probably
a statue
another group that doesn't believe what we believe.
I don't know, Sheikh. Why are you getting into sectarianism?
Yeah, but one of the positive things that is coming out of this, I think it's for those who still retain the ability to think openly and is not influenced by what they've been taught all these years, or not impacted by what they've been taught about all these years, is the whole world has been told, especially for the past 25 years, about how evil Islam and Muslims are.
Yeah.
And we see that today as to who's doing all of these crazy things that some had accused Muslims of doing.
Yeah.
On such a grand scale and such a huge, I don't want to call it conspiracy, but this is crazy stuff that we're talking about.
The people that spearheaded this hate, before you play this clip, the people that spearheaded this hate actually intended that Muslims and Christians don't unite, so you cause tension. All this tension that you see between like the far right that hate Muslims and all the propaganda they were fed, it was fed by these people to cause this tension between.
You're talking about the Zionists.
The Zionists, yes. This tension between
the Zionism is not limited to a particular religion.
No, it's not. It's not. But the thing is that the strife that occurred between, especially Muslims and Christians, Christian country in America, against the Muslims, this is all orchestrated. And now when you see all this stuff happening, and then you look at Islam, you're like, man, Islam is really the purest thing, because every other thing in the world, because of this greediness and this greed, is going to lead to this type of life, because it's not always enough. The small amount of greed is never enough, and the results that come from a small amount of greed, you need more until you get to this crazy level of evil, and then the world finds out about it eventually.
Look at this.
Is that bad?
Also in worshiping the devil.
This is from 1989.
In human sacrifice rituals,
on Oprah Winfrey's
rituals
show.
Cannibalism. You come from generations of ritualistic abuse?
Yes, my family has an extensive family tree. It's gone back to like 1700.
Does everyone else think it's a nice Jewish family? From the outside, you appear to be a nice Jewish girl.
Definitely.
And you all are worshiping the devil inside the home?
Right. There's other Jewish families across the country. It's not just my own family. There would be rituals in which babies would be sacrificed, and you would have to,
Whose babies?
There were people who bred babies in their family. No one would know about it. A lot of people were overweight, so you couldn't tell if they were pregnant or not. When I was very young, I was forced to participate in that, in which I had to sacrifice an infant.
And the purpose of sacrifice is to what? Is to bring you what? What are you sacrificing for?
For power.
Uh-huh. Power.
Wow.
And so, were you ever used? Were you ever used yourself?
I was molested. I was raped several times.
Mm-hmm. And what's your mother doing?
She's lives in the Chicago metropolitan area. She's on the Human Relations Commission of the town that she lives in, and she's an upstanding citizen.
Wow.
Nobody would suspect her.
Also in worshiping.
That's crazy. So these people, they're all amongst us. It seems like they could be in any religion. They could be.
But the disdain, look at the disdain that Shaitan has for people that believe in Allah. The propaganda that the shayateen have.
Yeah.
And there's many types of shayateen. that they have, and that's what Sheikh Omar was alluding to, is it only makes sense that Iblis didn't bow, and he said to Allah that I'm going to come to them from all different directions, and I'm going to make sure that none of them go, and to disenfranchise anybody who believes in Allah at any cost necessary, right?
Yeah.
This is what we're seeing. This is the manifestation. I'm pretty sure that's what you were alluding to. And then you think about Islam, and you see all of this. You're like, man. Then you realize the blessing of Islam, right?
Or even like you mentioned, one of you mentioned earlier, the quest for power and fame, right? Like that's, I believe that was one of the driving factors for a lot of these people who affiliated themselves with him.
Yep.
It's not that they didn't. I think a lot of people knew who he was and what his background was. He was a convicted and registered sex offender. But despite all that, they were willing to overlook all of that because he was a person with connections, right? A lot of the people who are tied to him from the Muslim countries, right? Which gives you an idea, like the quest for power and fame is not just tied to any religion or any faith, right?
It's a human thing.
It's a human
test.
thing.
Yeah.
And even if you like the woman that we're talking about from Emirates and some of the other Muslim figures that are in there as well.
Billionaires.
Yeah, it's all about everyone was using each other ultimately for
Fame.
Power, and not necessarily fame, but power and control and greed and money. Ultimately that's what it was about. They knew like what was happening. Some of them, I'm talking about the Muslims in particular, some of them may have actively participated in it to curry favor. For example, the I'm trying to find a word other than a woman, but it's not coming to my mind right now. The one who sent him pieces of the kiswa, right?
Yeah. Oh,
why did she send it to him? Because he was a Muslim? No, because she thought that she's gonna impress him by sending him something that is so unique that only a few selected people in the world would be able to get that for him, right? And that's the only reason why she would send that to him, right? Not because he appreciates it, right? Or he's gonna value it.
So her name is Aziza Al Ahmadi, right?
And she gives him a good, complete explanation about what the kiswa is about, where it came from, all of those things.
So Sheikh, why don't you can you explain to people who don't understand how the kiswa, what happens to it, like this brief summary of how it gets changed and stuff. And
so the kiswa, as of right now, it appears twice in the files. All right, one of them. The one that's more well documented is the one by this lady, or by this. I don't even want to say. I don't want to defile the word "lady" by using it for this person.
This thing.
Yes, this creature. Okay, she sent it to him,
and she's like an Emirati woman, right?
She according to all the records, because initially a lot of people said, "Oh, it's a Saudi woman," but actually, that's not true. According to what has been documented, it's an Emirati woman who worked in Saudi for a little bit, but eventually it seems like she's Emirati. People are saying no, she must be a Saudi because she sent the kiswa. Well, for those who know or for those who don't know, the kiswa is basically the cloth that covers the Kaaba, right? It used to be green, it used to be red before, but since the Saud family came into power, they established a factory there now, and that's where it's made. It's made in Saudi now, and there's a factory right outside of Mecca. Now it's in Mecca, and they change that every year. Every year the cloth is changed. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to make it. Probably in the millions. Okay, it's pretty expensive to make. It's made out of the finest material and all of that. And every year when they change it, the cloth, the Kaaba is a cube shape. So there's four sides to it, and I believe it's 50 meters by 50 meters, which is a huge thing. So you do that times 4, right? I'm not good in math, so do the math. But it's basically a good amount of cloth that they have. So what they do that every year when they take the old one out and they put the new one on, the old one is cut up and distributed across the Muslim world. It's given to scholars, visiting scholars. It's given to dignitaries. It's given to whoever they want to give to political figures. For example,
Do you have one, Sheikh?
for example, I don't answer personal questions. For example,
Come on.
Well, he's not going to answer now. He's just given to political figures and dignitaries, so he can't say yeah now. No, other people them get a hold of it too, right?
For example, like Ahmed al-Shara, who in December he gave the big talk in Umayyad Masjid, and they unveiled the kiswa of the Kaaba, which was given to them because he's a political figure. They're displaying it in the masjid. Similarly, many prominent masajids across the world, they display a portion of it. We don't worship it. Muslims don't worship it. There are things that are much more sacred than the cloth of the Kaaba. As the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ tells us that the unjust killing of a Muslim, the blood of a Muslim who's killed unjustly, is more sacred than the Kaaba itself. So this is a cloth we're talking about. We don't worship it, but it's what it represents. It has Allah written on it. It has Muhammad written on it. It has some verses written on it, depending on which part of the kiswa that is. So she decides to send this to him, okay, as a show that look how well connected I am. Because that's all the email says. It goes into detail about, explaining and all of that, what the different verses mean, what the significance of this is and all of that, right? To curry favor from him. That's all it is. But then there's the other picture that was seen as well, which came out, I think, a couple of days ago. Now that has a different portion of the kiswa, which is laid out on the floor. And this one seems to be a replica of the original cloth, because the original one would be much larger than that, because this is the segment that goes over the door, and that one definitely has a lot of verses written on it, and it's much more elaborate than the black cloth that's covering the rest of the Kaaba. So whoever sent that to him, and you see once again a good old Emirati in that. Everywhere you see, somehow there's an Emirati in there. I don't know why. Okay, and you can see them inspecting it. Some people said, they're using it as a rug and all those things. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. It's laid out in a form of a rug, but we cannot say that for certainty that that's what it was being used. It looks like they unrolled it and they were inspecting it, and they probably realized we've been duped because this is not the real thing. Maybe that's the Emirati guy got it for him, and it was a fake one. It turned out to be a fake one, basically.
Wait,
could be that.
Are you sure it's fake?
Yeah. The second one is a replica for sure. The one that's the one that's laid out on the floor.
Yeah.
Can you tell us who the guy in the picture is?
He looks like the Sultan bin.
He has a little bit of a history with.
What's his name? Sultan bin
Sulaim or something.
Sulaim.
Yeah.
He's one of the what we want to call it, presumed Muslims that show up in the documents, because he does a lot of interaction with him, to the point that while he was interacting with him and trying to correct Epstein's misunderstanding of Islam and Muslims, he was actually sending him links to watch debates about Islam and Muslims, and trying to give him dawah in that sense. While in the next sentence he tells him he's off to be with a Russian hooker, basically. Yeah. Okay, but look, the man, he was grounded in his faith, even though he was doing all of these things. He was advising him on maybe using GPS shoes for his victims. He was inspecting this kiswa with him. He was involved in sending, according to the documents, videos of torture to him. That's so what, all of that. But the man knew that as a Muslim, he was not supposed to eat pork.
Yeah, that's
because
one.
Epstein knew about that. Yeah. When he was told that he's visiting us tomorrow, they made sure that they didn't cook pork for him. Because he said, my friend is a Muslim, he doesn't eat pork.
Yeah. Wow. Dawah done. Amazing. That's how you do it.
Well, actually, there's another email. Look,
good example. He's a good example of going to the upper echelons of evil and giving them dawah.
That was his jihad.
Yes.
That was his jihad.
That's the name jihad.
Mujahid. He was a mujahid. He was doing jihad. Look, to the point, there's another email from Epstein to this lady, Aziza, right? Look, I mean, look at how respectful Epstein was.
Let's see it.
He starts off the email. I'm going to send this to you if you want to share it. He starts off the email. The email. Listen to this. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
He says, I begin my letter with the greetings of peace as instructed by the noble Prophet Muhammad. He starts off the email by that.
Who's saying this?
Epstein is writing this.
I want people to
Thanks
hear
to
that.
his friend who influenced him, who taught him the right way, the proper understanding of Islam and Muslims. So in a form, it was a da'wah.
That's the thing that pissed me off, man. There's a lot of things that, obviously, there's certain things that push you over the kiswa thing, and the fact that this Kamina, sorry, I don't know why I just said that. I can't control myself, bro.
Could get it out there.
Had to mention that Rasulullah's name, bro. That made me livid. That people like this are man. There's a lot of evil that took place, but there's something that happened about. They kind of pushed something over the edge about the kiswa thing, and the fact that this harami had to mention the name. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
It's just something about that irked me really bad.
But you know what? In all seriousness, this whole pork situation thing, okay, it reminded me a lot of our Muslims as well, because, and this is true. You cannot deny it. A lot of our Muslims, especially here, in Chicago and other Muslim majority areas, especially in the West, who are so hell-bent and hardcore on this Zabiha and non-Zabiha issue and certified and non-certified issue. Many people out there, they're doing all kinds of evil things. They're involved in drugs, they're involved in zina, they're involved in free mixing, they're involved in cheating on their spouses, but they must make sure that the food that they're eating is Zabiha halal.
Not only that, they're ripping off the Muslims, and they're ripping off Muslims through their institutions and treating them like dirt. But they want halal meat though.
But we've taken it, and before it used to be, it needed to be halal. Then it needed to be Zabiha halal. Now it needs to be certified Zabiha halal. Yeah. And now we've taken it another step. It needs to be a certifier of my preference, because there's two main ones out there. Okay, it needs to be the one that I accept.
Yeah.
While I'm sitting there eating that certified Zabiha halal meat with a little bit of crack in my pocket and my arm around my girlfriend, but I must make sure that meat I'm eating is certified Zabiha.
No, but it goes more than that. I'm glad you actually mentioned this, man, because it goes far deeper than that. What ends up happening is that people end up forming their own coalitions. And they go into Muslim businesses, and maybe a Muslim business not certified. Maybe they don't want to be certified by somebody, but they're halal, right? And there's the zabiha, right? But they don't want to be certified because they don't want to be a part of a thing which that this type of system causes them lots of turmoil, lots of heartache, and they don't want to be a part of this. But they'll be straightforward. This is 100% zabiha, this is 100% halal. And we have to understand that some of these sort of people who are involved in the certification process, which many people have had personal interactions with personally, let's just say that a lot of them, we can have another segment about this some other time where we can bring evidences and all that. But a lot of them, when it comes to money, is a lot more important than the certification. They themselves are going into kitchens, making sure that they're certified, but they're going to be accepting other meat because it's cheaper, and because they're going to be making a lot more money somewhere else with the certification. Or their connection people are like, hey man, I can't afford this, but we're friends. And this is where the money thing comes in, right? The greed, where they do favors for each other. This happens on a human level, right? I mean, people have had these personal, but the reason I'm mentioning all of this is there's industries that are formed that cause division between Muslims and problems between Muslims and Muslim businesses that are trying to make honest livings. And they're involved in making these teams, usually on our team or to that team, right? And the infighting that happens between some of these certification groups now. Some of them, there's infighting between them, meaning like one organization to the other organization. And it's not for Islamic reasons.
No, I thought they were fighting about who is following the Sharia the closest.
Yeah.
As to the number of
and I'm not saying all of them.
And what needed to be slaughtered, the vertical cut and the horizontal cut and the V cut and the Z cut, I don't know.
The Z cut. Look, I'm not saying this is everybody, but the thing that reminded us of is this whole pork thing, the pork gate. And
what's pork in Urdu for our Urdu listeners?
Huh? He said it from the
Suwar.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think that's a great observation. We have to be very, very careful in how we conduct ourselves, especially when it comes to halal consumption, but also bringing other Muslims down and doing majorly haram things, but then having, there was that joke that used to come around like, oh, sister, are you a Muslim? You want to be Hamid? Where are you from? And this and that. It's like, oh no, it's my boyfriend. My boyfriend's Muslim, and I do his groceries for him, and he wants it to be Hamid thing. Like that was something that people used to joke around about the '90s, but it's a lot worse than that.
Yeah. No, to be clear, we're not saying you should not be consuming. I believe that if Zabi halal is available in your area, you should give that preference over whatever else is available out there. I'm a firm believer in that. We're not putting people down who insist on that. But the issue that I have that I wanted to highlight is that the only thing that you need to focus on in your life, not only in your life but others as well.
Yeah.
And you look down on people who may not agree with your interpretation and your version of what you think is dhabiha and it's halal.
Yeah, no, I agree.
This guy came into the news as well through the Epstein files. Notorious Muslim hater Tommy Robinson.
He also visited Emirat recently as well. He was actually, I believe, he was invited as a special guest.
So
where he insulted Islam and Muslims over there while visiting.
So Steve Bannon and Epstein are having a conversation about him, and Steve Bannon shows or replies back to Epstein, says he's the backbone of England after he sees the Robinson picture, and he replies back, that's why the pound is so low. And Steve Bannon says cheap at any price. Basically, Tommy Robinson can be bought for a very cheap price. So like a lot of this stuff, there's a connection with Israel, the UAE, the hate towards Islam that's happening.
Direct connection
of
UAE funding,
to building close relationships with Israel.
Not only that, Sim, remember people thought it was a conspiracy, but like, no, why would a Muslim country fund disenfranchising? Not even just disenfranchise, that's a light word. Causing division and stigmatizing Muslims and Muslim-backed organizations funded by the UAE to cause a division in America and in Europe.
And that's where I want to get with this, because we have to understand that the Israeli plan over the Middle East is that they envision a Middle East that is very fractured into as small groups of nations as possible. This is why they're planning on Iran being broken up, because if Iran collapses, they will set up different countries within Iran. They'll break up Iran. Iran won't be anymore, because there's different ethnicities in each section of Iran. There's Arabs, there's Kurds, there's different ethnicities all over. And their plan is to make these more manageable. Because if you are seeing these countries fight each other, well, what do they need? They need weapons. They need all kinds of different supplies. So you have and it's much more easier to take land from them as well if you need to expand. The Israelis want to be this like overarching. They want to be like almost like the Britain of them over the Middle East, where they get to set the stage for politics and who gets what and how resources are divided among the Middle Eastern countries. They want to be the overlords, right? And so you see with them and their planning or coordination with the UAE that they're envisioning Somaliland. This is why would the UAE and Israel both coincide with setting up their own or being the sole pushers of this new country called Somaliland? Why is the UAE fighting against their fellow Arab countries like Saudi Arabia in Yemen by supporting their entirely own faction of fighters within Yemen?
That's crazy.
So they're envisioning a much more fractured Middle East that they can tighten their grip on.
But you said something really awesome, because you kind of skipped over it, and it's really important. A fractured Iran, for instance, needs weapons.
Yeah, no, the entire Middle East.
But let's say even Iran, even though it's supposed to be America's enemy and stuff, who can supply them weapons if need be?
The United States and Israel.
They're gonna make a ton of money
Yeah, absolutely.
in the fractured Middle East. That's cha-ching for them. It's like, dude, we're the greatest shipper of arms. You know how much money we can make?
It's much more easier to control divided groups of people, whether it's Muslims or otherwise. If you're divided, you're much more easily conquerable. You're much more easily managed.
And you don't need to worry about them anymore for major change because they're too busy fighting each other.
Yeah.
And we just give them the weapons, give them the money, and they're going to be too busy fighting each other. We don't got to worry about these ragheads. All they do is fight each other. And then they stigmatize them in the media. Look at these people.
You know, this was the original plan for Iraq as well.
Yeah.
But it didn't play out the way the Americans wanted. Iraq was very difficult for them to manage. And they couldn't set up the different leaders within the respective regions within Iraq quickly enough and to suppress them, to suppress the local
They didn't
population.
realize how difficult it was to control those people.
Yeah,
But no, because the main focus was they were still searching for the WMDs.
yeah,
Here we go.
yeah,
That was priority.
Yeah.
that was priority number
The
one.
yellow cake.
But anyways, I think we're probably coming to a close. You guys have anything else to say? I think that we should.
Actually, we're closing this subject. What I want to talk about is Ramadan is coming up.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Positive note. A lot of stuff is disgusting. Is toxic. Makes you want to vomit. I think that Ramadan is right around the corner.
Well, actually, hold on. Sorry. Before we segment into Ramadan,
Here we go.
I want to end this segment. I need your guidance, to.
Here comes the sarcasm.
It's not sarcasm. It's a real question. Because look, a good segment of Muslims out there, and I would say even non-Muslims as well, who are really not in tune with a lot of this happening, and they find a lot of this surprising and shocking, and especially for the Muslims, like they are finding this hard to believe, to the point that they're saying this, even this whole thing is a conspiracy, and we cannot believe all of this and all these things. How can the Muslims keep their faith in check with all of what is happening? Because some of them is like they don't even know what to believe anymore. They're questioning their faith. They're questioning, if Allah was there, how can He allow all of this to happen? There's so many questions that the Muslims are having. So what advice do you have for the Muslims on how they can handle this? Because some are saying, just don't even, don't read up on it. Don't, just focus on yourself and move on. Whatever's happening. Don't worry about it. While others are saying, no, you must know what is happening, but put it in the proper context. So how does one, balance it out? Or should they balance it out?
Man, that's really loaded. I'll tell you why. I think depends on where you are and what you do. That's actually really important. But I think just for a general populace, man, like you should obviously be aware. This is what I'm gonna do, and this is what I tell other people too. I don't follow politics nearly as well as you guys do, so I kind of fall into the category of like the general lay people. Like I depend on you guys for a lot of stuff as far as analyses and politics, what's happening in the world. Especially in Ramadan, because it's not a part of your work to be a part of politics. It's not a part of, I would say, plain and simple, if it comes along your way, fine, but just don't even get involved in it, especially for this month. Because it's not something that's worth it if you're not a mover or a pusher in this field, in this sector. You probably in Ramadan are not going to benefit at all from understanding it all what's happening here. So me, even personally, I'm going to take a hiatus from all this. Obviously, when it comes to Palestine and Gaza, lots of dua for them, kind of understand what's happening. But at the end, you have to understand, to answer your question more specifically, is that, yes, everything still belongs to Allah. Allah is the one. He's the one that created all of this, and He's the one that tests all of this and tests all of us. And Allah promised us that those people who refrain from this, because in front of all these people, like all these people who are billionaires who got involved in this, did you think that their money is going to help them if they can stand in front of Allah doing all of this? Like, you're much more richer than any billionaire who's involved in any of this, right? Whether you're a prime minister from a Muslim country or you had any type of involvement, the world politics of what's happening right now, we're so lucky that a lot of Muslims don't know what's actually happening. They're actually saving themselves from this filth, right? But you're much richer than any of these billionaires. Like we were talking about, like the fraud that happens with zakat and all that kind of stuff, right? And the millions that people can make.
Yeah, some
fraud.
fundraisers could be richer than me.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with that money. If they made millions of dollars, whether it was 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, I don't want to be that type of millionaire. Right, we were joking about, like, and we hear people say that, like, man, we're in the wrong business. No, we're in the right business, bro. I'd rather be poor, broke, and not being able to ends meet than have millions of dollars and taking money from people who said we were saying it was going to Gaza, but I'm eating that money. Like, how am I going to stand in front of Allah doing that? So, to be honest with you, just Ramadan is Ramadan. Devote your time to the Quran. Be extra generous, like the Aisha radiallahu anha said. And like the Sahaba witnessed that Muhammad ﷺ was the most generous of people, but he was the most generous of people in Ramadan. Be extra generous. Love Allah, love His Rasul ﷺ. Love your brothers. Be good to your neighbors, and just ask Allah to alleviate the people of what's happening in Gaza and Sudan and everywhere else, and just carry on business as usual. Don't think that just because all this evil is happening that Allah's not aware of it. Allah's aware of everything, right? And Allah mentions that in the Quran multiple times. And not only Allah is aware of the wrongs that's happening, the individuals that are committing dhulm, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is completely aware of them, right? And Allah never forgets what they did, and Allah's not going to forget what you did, right? And that's, I know it sounds really simple, I know it sounds maybe super elementary, man, but I think that's where it's at, man, because if you're not directly involved in any of this, what is this going to do for you, to be honest with you? Right? One brother, he said to me, he was a student of hadith. He said something really beautiful. He's like, yeah, you know what? At the end, for me, I don't really care. All this is khabar wahid anyway. It's khabar ahad. Or a lot of it, he's astaghfirullah, it's khabar ahad. He said a lot of it's weak narration anyway. Right? He's a student of hadith, and he's making a light joke, but he's like, everything I hear in the news anyway, for me, especially in Ramadan, it's all weak narrations anyway. And I thought that was super profound. Because it may be okay to know, but you don't really need to care too much about it, in a sense of politics, right? Which is interesting coming from
I completely disagree. This is one of the most important moments in modern history where you're understanding, and there's a veil being lifted over our eyes, and we're seeing what many of us suggested, and as Sheikh was talking about earlier in the show, when we were young, we would hear our parents saying, "This is a sazish, this is a conspiracy of Israel," and you would hear, and you would just kind of laugh it off, and you're like, "Oh, it's much more complicated than that." But you're seeing these things unraveling before our eyes, and you can either play dumb, and you can be like a camel in a sandstorm, where you stick your head in the sand and your whole body's exposed to the storm, or you can at least teach your children, you can teach your loved ones, coworkers, or whoever, whichever level of influence you have in the world, you can get them better educated if you can promote things on Facebook or social media, what have you. You do whatever is within your control. Even if you have an anonymous Twitter account, talk about it and raise awareness. I mean, I don't understand like this idea of like, oh well, just this is all out of my control, and let Allah take care of the world wherever we may end up.
Number one,
it's the biggest BS wimpy. Like, what kind of?
That's not what I referred to.
People. I'm not talking about your friend. I'm just talking about the general attitude.
He's talking about you.
What are we gonna do? These are all powerful people. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Number one, Look, number one, nobody talks in that voice. You made the voice seem the idea. You destroyed the idea with the voice. I just want to know what you did there. Okay, I want you to realize what you did there. The second thing is, look, I'm saying for the month of Ramadan, those people who don't even know how to navigate through these things, the general populace he's referring to, don't even know how to navigate through this stuff.
Yeah.
For them, paying attention and feel like all downtrodden. And they're going to be focused. People are going to be telling them, "Hey, look at this, look at that." I would tell them, like the WhatsApp message that they're going to be getting. Don't pay attention to those.
First of all, no one reads. Maybe there's a couple, but 99% of people aren't glued to the Quran throughout all Ramadan.
I understand that.
They're scrolling through their phones and
I
stuff.
understand that.
And whatever they're learning, they can connect it back to the Quran. They can learn about the arrogance. You can learn about how just Elon Musk tweeted the other day, how he said whoever said
Wealth doesn't buy you happiness.
wealth doesn't buy you happiness. He was on to something. He's talking about the sadness that he's experiencing in his life.
Of course.
Because he's in the files.
He's the king of the world right now in terms of wealth and
But
stuff.
Sim, how do you-
And you're seeing things that the Quran is talking about. One of the things that I always thought about when I was growing up is when we were young and we would be involved in a lot of debates and just I'm like, oh, why wasn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more detailed in the Quran? Why didn't he give more explanation? I think he gave everything you needed.
Yeah.
The people just needed these simple level of explanations and teachings, and they need to just draw parallels from their
Exactly.
real world into what's happening, and that's how you make the Quran alive.
Of course.
It's telling people that turn off the news and just stick to the Quran, like they're not going to they're not going to do that.
I understand that.
B, you're not whatever opportunity you had to get them to connect to the Quran is lost because you're telling them like,
I'll tell you
you
why
know
I said
what, just focus on the words. Like
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What are you
This
saying?
is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that people are going to be attending. If you want to talk about understanding the Quran, people are going to be attending talks about the Quran and explanation of the Quran. That's all they're going to be doing. What I'm saying is, think about it from this position. How do you find a balance of telling them, like I said, people are all going to be scrolling on, looking at random stuff, but is that what we want people to be doing? Yeah, maybe they'll be doing it, but how do we get rid of the habit of looking at nonsensical things, of doom scrolling, because that's what's going to end up happening? Then, you know what, at least for this month, out of respect for this month, you don't have to get involved in a lot of what's happening, especially if you don't have anything to do. You're not going to be a pusher. You're not going to be a changer. You're not going to understand things properly sometimes. He's talking about people like, why is Allah, why is this happening? Those type of people, you just tell them, don't even go near that stuff.
Maybe it's different for each person, but
You're a different person too.
no, I'm saying that most people, we wanted them to get involved in Ramadan. When the Ghaza was happening, did we tell them it's Ramadan, Ghaza's happening, turn off the Ghaza news?
No, that's not what I'm referring to.
No, this is whole scale abuse of children that's happening on a mass scale. We're not talking about a few things. We're talking about elite power structures within the United States and multiple other governments across the world, incredibly powerful people who are taking our children, not just abusing them, but eating them.
I know.
But eating them, like what? You should be, where is the American people? Where's the world people? You should be marching on your capitals. Like, this is your goddamn kids. Are you freaking kidding me? These are your kids. They're eating them. They're eating them. What else do you want? What else is left?
Yeah.
They bombed the heck out of children, all like tens of thousands of them all over Gaza. Those weren't these are your own children from Turkey, from all over the European countries. They stole children and they brought them to an island and they groomed them and then they abused them and then they freaking ate them. What else do you need?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so mind blowing to me. You have this moment in time where you have everyone's weight on these politicians. Like these politicians, neck, you almost have your foot on their neck to get the rest of the files out. You have to apply pressure as much as possible. Yeah, of course, if it's too much for you, if your sensibilities are being bothered too much by focusing on this stuff, of course, you know what, go hide in the mosque or wherever you go hide and you need your safe space. Get some padding all around you and make sure you're really safe.
I'm sorry I asked the question.
No, it's great. This is.
No, look. I understand what both of you are saying.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying makes sense. What you're saying makes sense. I think we need to do both, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we need to live in a cave, divorce ourselves from the reality, and pretend nothing is happening. I agree. I think it is a critical moment that we're in right now, as in terms of what has been uncovered and what still needs to be done. And I believe it is the public pressure that has brought this much out. And I think that's why I keep saying from the beginning, I think everything will eventually come out. Okay.
Yeah.
But for the Muslims in particular, who whose faith may not be as strong as maybe the other person, right? I talk to a lot of people. I'm sure you talk to a lot of people. I know people who are being impacted by this because they're not able to connect this with their faith.
Yeah.
For example, we talked about Baal, right? They're like, people cannot make the connection. Oh, so what if his bank account was under that name? It's meaningless to them. But if you connect that with the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this more than 1400 years ago, telling the disbelievers, why do they worship this entity versus Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when that cannot bring you any benefit. When they make that connection, it makes their faith even more stronger than before. So I think that's what you're saying.
But the other problem I have is, look,
but I wasn't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You sound like you were done.
No, I wasn't. Okay. I think people need to do that. I think in Ramadan is a great opportunity for them to do that. Is not just go through the rituals of fasting and Taraweeh and that's it, but actually focus on understanding of the Quran. And it's not going to happen in 1 month, but 1 month is a good enough time for you to get started on that, so you can get through that. For the rest of the year or even more than that. I believe that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes when he introduces the month of Ramadan in the Quran, he emphasized that he introduces the month of Ramadan as the month of Quran, not the month of Taraweeh, not even fasting. Fasting comes later, as you know. I believe the emphasis of the Quran is there for a reason, and that reason is for us to be able to navigate our entire life around the understanding of the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. If we have that in our life, then we will be able to navigate this scandal and any other thing that comes our way. Because I believe this is only the tip of the iceberg, right? Like Sim was getting very emotional about they're eating the children.
No, it's outrage.
Of course,
that outrage is necessary, bro.
It is. No doubt about it, right? They're eating the children. They're drinking blood. Not even eating it was a breeding ground for children. They were raping the victims. They were raping the girls, and then the children that were born, they were killing the children and they were eating them. This is according to their own documentation. We're not saying that, right? This is what they're doing.
And then when the ones that raised up, they're making them go find more children to abuse.
This was the life they were
some
born
of them
in.
after they're 20, 21 years old, they've raised them. After a while, they become accomplices because that's what they taught them their whole life. That's what their job is.
And that's what
to steal children.
That's what some of the MAGA crowd is saying. Not everyone is a victim. Some of the names that were redacted happens to be names of women who are actively supporting him in procuring more children for him.
Yeah, because they were children when they were exploited by him, so they were brainwashed to obviously do his bidding.
This was the norm for them. This was what they were supposed to do.
That's all they knew, and so the MAG crowd's like, oh, they were over 21 and they did that. What the hell's the point of that? Like, what are you explaining? They were kidnapped when they were children. That's all they were taught, to exploit and harm children. That's all they were taught.
It's a wicked web, bro. That web is so crazy. I don't understand it, bro.
All right, let's move on to the next subject, because we can be here for another few hours talking
about
it.
This Ramadan season is coming, Sheikh, and nothing bothers me more than the way, not raising money, but the way raising donations is handled by many institutions, mosques, otherwise. Oftentimes, my problem is usually that they cut into my iftar time because I get really hungry, and the brother is really excited about raising money for whatever cause he has, and I'm like, bro, we prayed Maghrib, we're waiting for our food, it's sitting right there, but you need to talk and finish your subject, but he's going on and on for another half an hour.
You're talking about fundraising during Taraweeh. I don't know who does fundraising at Maghrib time.
There's sometimes you get invited to certain places, Sheikh. Do you remember last year?
Oh, private event? You're talking about private events?
Yes. A brother was very discourteous, disrespectful of our time. Yeah. I was very hungry that day.
But the whole fundraising phenomenon too, look, it's a culture that's built now. People on the weekends don't like to go to Isha and Taraweeh because after 4 rakat, they're going to be sitting for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, what have you done with Ramadan, bro? Like, and where's that money going? And how are you funneling that money? Is all of the money, is 100% of it going to where it's supposed to go?
So to give the people a bit of a context, there was a company that, what's it called? Where
Human appeal.
No, the one who first blew the whistle.
Oh, it's some
It's like
some apparel company.
It's like a Palestine apparel company. Okay, they blew the whistle on Khalid Bediyoun. Khalid Bediyoun did some fundraising for
Where the Peace.
Where the Peace is the company's name. So Where the Peace blew the whistle on Khalid Bediyoun for collecting $2 million out of $10 million.
Seven.
Oh, $7 million?
He raised 7. Out of the 7, he got 2.
And so the 2 million, people are like, what the heck? But where's our, like, you're filing taxes and you're saying that the 2 million went to you. And then Khalid Bediyoun releases a statement saying that, no, it didn't come to me. It went to my charity. It's a clerical error, something like that. Some error happened where it was supposed to go to his charity, but it went to him. No mention of what charity that is.
Fighting Islamophobia.
Was that the name?
CRT.
That's what he said. He said it went to a charity that fights against Islamophobia.
What's the name of it?
Khalid Bediyoun.
No. Oh, Khalid Bediyoun's the name. It's like a circle.
This stand-up comedy material, bro. Wow. I was so confused.
That's the only thing we can. That's the only thing we can make out of this.
I got confused. I thought you were being serious.
No, because look, it's not that hard to uncover this. I saw. There's been a lot of talk about this. I think the guy is being unfairly bad-mouthed in this. I think he's only a small piece of the bigger problem that the Muslim community has. It's not him, okay? It's the charity, in this case Human Appeal, and there's several other charities that are out there. Muslims need to hold these organizations accountable for the donations that they're collecting.
Human Appeal, for context, Human Appeal said to everyone that they're raising money for Gaza. Now,
so does every organization, every Muslim relief organization.
But then they said they gave $2 million to another charity that Khalid Bediyoun won't name, hasn't named yet, but that is dedicated towards other causes.
Well, look, this is how it came out, right? Like and this is, I believe every Muslim, every responsible Muslim and masjid should do this. This Ramadan, whatever organization that they're calling in, they need to have this understanding with them. And this is public information. This is not some secret that came out in the Epstein files, right? When Human Appeal filed their tax documentation for last year, in there's an area where they have to put down if they used any fundraisers. And in the fundraisers, they have to put down the amount, how much money they raised, and out of the money that was raised, how much was given to the fundraiser. Okay? So in there, they put down for the first column, name and address of the individual or entity that did the fundraising. Khalid Bediyoun is named there, okay? And then it says he raised 7.1 million. And then the next column says amount paid to or retained by the fundraiser is 2 million. So he was paid 2 million. And amount paid to the organization was 5 million. So total of 7 was raised. Out of the 7, the organization kept 5 and 2 was paid to him. When this came out, he says, actually, the error they made was they put my name in there. The money was not supposed to go to me. It went to my organization. Okay, fine. We'll take his word.
No, I'm not going to. I want some paperwork.
Okay, hold on. We're getting there.
Okay,
we're getting there. All right. All right. It would say, okay, yeah, maybe it was a clerical error. Maybe it was some intern that was working there who didn't know what the hell she was doing or what he was doing, and they put his name there. Okay, fine. You can easily clear this up by showing us the tax return of your organization that you say that you donated the money to. Here's the money that I went to. The guy was silent for 7 days, 5 days, whatever, and then he just came back and there's no mention of it. Okay? And there was another organization that he was somehow affiliated with a while ago, whose founder, I believe, Hatim Bazian, right?
Yeah.
He came out and he said, he just put a clarification out there that This has nothing to do with us. He doesn't work with us. The money didn't come to us or anything. Okay? So now Khalid, it's up to him to explain that, look, this is the name of my organization. You can look it up. The information is public. This is who I donated the money to. So far, he has not done that. Okay? So I believe what he can do is that, look, if this is true, come out and tell the people that, look, yeah, I did the work. I worked real hard to raise money, and this was the agreement that I had with the organization that I worked for. I worked hard for it. Yes, they should have been more transparent, and this is on the organization, not the fundraiser. No one is going to refuse $2 million. He's not going to say, sorry, I don't want $2 million. Don't give it to me. No one is going to say that. So I believe it's up to the organization. I believe they are at major fault here. They need to be held accountable as to how they are utilizing the funds, the hard-earned money that people are donating. Because especially in this case, because everyone thought they're donating to Palestine. They thought they were donating to help the orphans and the refugees and the women and the children who were being bombed and massacred. It turns out that that's not necessarily the case. That a portion of their funds was going to this fundraiser. And I'm not saying that the fundraiser is going to work for free. Everyone takes time out of their schedule to do whatever they need to. But this needs to be transparent. So when I'm going to the masjid, I can make a decision that tonight, because look, a lot of the masajid, especially here in Chicago, some of the bigger masjids, I believe that there's barely any single night that goes by without any organization that's there. And it's a huge scheme, in my opinion. And in some ways, it's a Ponzi scheme, it feels like. It's like a pyramid scheme, it feels like. The organization comes in, they promise to give the masjid a certain amount of money, and you allow us to raise a certain amount of money, and from there, we're going to give a portion of it to the fundraiser. The fundraiser either has a flat fee, the fundraiser either has a flat fee plus a commission, plus a percentage. It's different for everyone. All of this needs to be transparent, so that $100 that I'm donating tonight, I want to be informed that $100 I'm going to give, am I okay with $50 of that $100 that I'm giving? Am I okay with that going to the administration of the organization, their overhead, and the fundraiser, and only $50 of the $100 that I'm giving is going to the cause that they're asking for? Or am I happy with giving that $100 to an organization that can verifiably tell me that 100% of my donation is going towards the cause that they're asking for? And there are organizations that are working for that as well.
Heroic Hearts. Yeah.
Heroic Hearts is one of them. There are others as well, right? But that's the one that we know about. So I think this is the conversation that needs to happen. People, community members need to have this conversation with the administration of their masajids. The organizations that you're bringing in, we need to be transparent. And a lot of times, the masjid administration themselves, they may not know of this. Some do, most of them, they don't.
What do you think about this idea? I saw somebody do this once, or actually twice. Once last Ramadan, a few Ramadans ago, where a brother's raising funds for the initiative that he's doing. And then he says, okay, this last 10 minutes, we're just going to raise funds for our employees because we're a nonprofit and we accept donations and we're having hard times with money. And some of our brothers got laid off. Some of our sisters that work for us, they got laid off. They lost their jobs, so we're raising money for them too. I was like, bro, I'm donating to this guy. Because he was 100% real.
It might be real, but if a masjid is doing that, I don't agree with that. I believe
not a masjid. I'm talking about individual organization.
If an individual organization is doing it, okay, that's a level of transparency. Yeah. I think it may be
I'd much rather donate to that dude.
Fine.
Yeah.
But I know
he's telling me straight up.
But I know some of the masajids, I don't agree with the masajid should raise funds this way, because I believe that's insulting and humiliating.
So expound upon that. What do you mean they don't? Because a lot of people may not know the intricacies of what you just said. He said, I don't agree with masjids raising funds like that. What do you mean like that?
But masjid should raise funds for the operating expense of the masjid. And that operating expenses of the masjid include all the operation. It includes the bills. It includes the landscaping, the cleaning of the snow, and the salaries of the employees. But I know some of the masajids who who go out there and they're raising funds either intentionally or unintentionally. We have employees that we need to be that we need to pay for, and we're raising funds for that. And guess who the fundraiser is? The fundraiser is the imam of the masjid. So basically, you're insulting the imam of the masjid by having him raise funds for his own salary, which is really humiliating and insulting for the imam.
Yeah.
That should not be done.
Yeah, that happens pretty normally.
Like the administration acts like they're doing the guy a favor.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be paid, raise your own money. Basically, that's what you're saying.
Lead us in prayer and live in zillah. That's it.
Yeah. So I disagree. I strongly disagree with that. That should not be the case.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm sorry to hijack the conversation. Go ahead.
You hijacker.
I want to know what to do after 4 rakats in Taraweeh. The mosque wants to do a half an hour fundraiser.
I go to a local masjid that doesn't have any fundraising, doesn't have a parking problem.
Well, mashallah, you're in
Yeah.
Chicago, Sheikh. Many
Yeah.
of our listeners don't have that luxury.
I know.
Should they just pray at home? Because some of these mosques clearly don't respect your time. They don't respect that you have a family. They don't respect you. And when they behave in such a manner, especially on a weekday.
Oh, I've seen it on a weekday too. They said we're not going to do it on weekdays, we're going to do it on weekends, and they've done it on a weekday too. That was disgusting.
So my suggestion is pray at home with your family. Who said that you have to do Taraweeh? I mean, first of all, Taraweeh is something that was a good innovation. The rules of Taraweeh are completely up to you, like how much you want to go to the mosque and how much. But some of these mosques are taking advantage of it, of your willingness to go to the mosque and do prayer, and they're like saying, well, we're going to do donation. Well, I already donated, brother. I don't have any more to donate.
Yeah.
And you're holding everyone hostage to keep them from leaving, and nobody wants to leave. Like, who wants to leave when during a fundraising, except for me? But most people aren't as hard-hearted as me.
And a lot of people are going to continue going. You know why? Because it's a huge social thing for them too. They want to see all their friends and family at the masjid and stuff. They're not just there for prayer too, right? So if you tell them not to go to the masjid and pray at home, how many people do you know that leave after 4 rakat and 8 rakat? You know, I understand it. I get it. I'm not going to get any fiqhi debate here, but a lot of people go there because they want to have the feeling of being around people, and it's just a part of like American culture now, like major city culture of all these fundraisings. It's just like something to talk about now. So people go anyway and just chill with their friends until it's done. They complain about it for a little bit, and then at the end they have Eid and everyone's fine.
Yeah.
They're not actually going to leave.
Yeah, and that allows them to get away with it, and they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
action, obviously, a good spearheading has to take place of people holding masjids accountable, which they donate to very heavily, and make them feel bad about not donating. That has to take place, definitely. You know, like, listen, we're going to help with the masjid. We help with the masjid. We volunteer for the masjid. We have families that volunteer. Man, if you want to fundraise on the weekends, fine. Just do 10 to 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
10 minutes is fine. 10 minutes?
I guarantee the masjid, the people, like, to counteract this, if you have a masjid that doesn't have fundraising and you just ask for it once, and you remind them, listen, we don't want to ruin your Taraweeh, we don't want to ruin your Ramadan, we're not going to fundraise 45 minutes. We're just going to talk to you for 2 minutes, please, because this is our expenses, and that's it. And leave. But if you don't even mention it, and you just say it like within 10 seconds in between whatever amount of rakat, that message is going to be so much more respected. I guarantee the people will donate much more.
No, they won't.
No, they
You don't
won't.
think so?
They won't.
They won't. That's a fairyland.
You think so?
Fairy tale land, yeah.
And this is where, you know, it things start getting in the gray area, because if they have an outsider fundraiser coming in, which in most cases the organizations are bringing their own fundraisers, now the fundraiser he's incentivized as to the amount of money that he's going to be raising, because he's going to get a cut of it too. Okay? So that's why a lot of this is not clear, and people are not aware of it. They're wondering why the guy is working so hard to raise money. Does he really believe in this cause? Actually, no, he doesn't believe in that. He may not believe in that cause. Okay, he's believing in that money coming from your pocket, and portion of that coming into his pocket. I'm not saying everyone is like that, but there may be some. I know that personally. They're more motivated by the amount of money that they're going to be making in Ramadan. And I've done some. I've asked on some organization, I think you may have as well, the amount of money that people can make in this is a good amount of money. Like,
when you say good amount, give us some numbers.
Like 10 to 20,000, right?
No, well, I mean, look,
That's the number. That's the number I've heard around Chicago.
I think that's on the higher end. But look, even like low-level guys, just to go there, ask for money, raise money for funds. And every masjid that you go, each masjid that you go to, we're going to give you, for example, $500 or $750 for the one night. This is only for the fundraiser, okay? You're going to get $500 or $750. Hey, I'll go and raise the funds, even if I don't know how to raise funds, or even if I can barely speak.
I agree with you now.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
Even if I can speak, barely speak a sentence of English, yeah, I'll go. Hey, half an hour, 45 minutes, I'm getting $500. I'm making a lot of money. And then if the organization is sending me, let's say I live in Chicago, but they're sending me to, let's say I'm going to Kentucky, some masjid in Kentucky, right? There are 4 masjids there. There are 4 nights there. I'm getting paid separately for every stop that I'm making.
That's true.
So let's say the organization, they promised me they'll pay me $500 per stop. Okay, I'm making $2,000 at the bare minimum. Okay, plus my flight is paid, my accommodation is paid, my food is paid. I don't even have to fast because I'm traveling. I'm ordering breakfast.
Oatmeal and raisins.
Yes.
Pancakes.
And that's on the lower end.
But here's the thing: the dilemma of the mosque is that we know for a fact, beyond a shadow of a doubt, certain communities, some mosques within the Chicago area, they're able to pull $1 million in a half an hour
Easily.
Of fundraising. Their dilemma is, if I get some guy who doesn't know how to talk, they get some guy, not a professional at raising funds. If they get one of these guys, he's going to be pulling in maybe $250,000. That could kill their annual budget. They need to get the professional. They need to call in the wolf from Pulp Fiction, the professional guy who knows how to handle the situation, who knows how to extract as much money as he can from the community. So when this guy comes, he's going to come in. He's going to probably ask for $20,000. But that's nothing for them. If they're going to get $1 million in a half an hour, they might even say, here's $100,000. We need that. We need that million. Because if the alternative guy, the guy who's just like an amateur guy, the uncle at the mosque or whoever, if they get him to do it, he's gonna pull in he's gonna pull in a chump change. He's gonna tank the mosque for the remainder of the year. So the dilemma of the mosque, I sympathize with that too.
Okay, but that's fine. But they need to be transparent with their community. The donors can decide how much they want to donate and where they want to donate. I think that's the part that's missing. And this is not, I'm not just talking about the masjid, I'm talking more the relief organizations, which seems like there's a new relief organization that is out there. Every week a new one is there.
Yeah, I think...
And they're making millions.
I think you're right, but I think there's only people like you and I who care about that. Like how much... I think the average Muslim who goes to the mosque, it's like, I don't care. I've done my part. Here's my money.
That's an observation.
Okay,
and I think and for them, they had no incentive to be transparent to people, because they're like, the average person doesn't care. They're not asking these questions.
Okay, let's go with that. Okay, the average person doesn't care. Okay, then the average person should not be outraged why this guy was paid $2 million then out of the $7 million. And you see, majority of those people are the ones who are outraged, who never ask those questions because they just donated. Okay, well, you didn't do your research. That's what I'm saying. It's not his fault. It's the organization. If anyone should be held accountable, a question, it's the organization. It's not him. You're doing your part. They asked me for Palestine. I'm going to give you $100 because I'm thinking that money is going to that child. Now, if they took a portion of it, that's on them. I've done my part. Okay? But if I want to... if I want to know the details, then it's up to me to ask that. But I think, to avoid this outrage, because I think, look, this is only going to grow every year. Before, it started out on the weekends. The masjid is raising funds on the weekends. Then gradually, it used to be Saturday and Sunday. Then it gradually went to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, at least here in Chicago, it's almost every day in Ramadan. lot of the big masajid, and you almost feel like some sort of relief if there's no fundraising. Like you feel like your tarawih is accepted on the day there when there's no fundraising. Okay, I mean that's where we're at now, and it's only gonna get more and more from here. So it's up to the communities to decide. Either you I mean, it's a civil conversation you can have with the board of the masajids, or you just deal with it. But the people are not stupid either, because what happened was there was a fundraiser that I had attended a few years ago, okay? And this was not in Ramadan, this was not at the masjid, this was for some fundraiser for organization or a masjid, I don't recall 100%, okay? And you know the strategy at these fundraisers, which is the dinner is not served until you reach that number that you're looking for, right? So they were looking to reach a specific number, and they were only about 15,000-20,000 short, something like that, okay? People are not stupid either. Fundraiser is stupid enough to tell the people, look, the food is not going to be served until we raise this amount of money. And there was a group of friends that were sitting at the table, okay? And the fundraiser, and no one is giving that last bit that they need until the food is served, okay? So they're sitting, this group of friends is sitting at the table, and they're looking. All of a sudden, one of their friends, he raises the money, he says, I'm going to give that $15,000. And, okay, and there's takbir around the room, mashallah, takbir for the brother. And his friends look at him. His friends look at him, and they're like,
I know what this was.
We know you're broke. You can't afford. You don't even have $15. You're pledging $15. You're saying you're getting $15,000. He said, "You guys are stupid. You think I'm gonna give them that money? I ain't gonna give them that money. I don't have the money. Okay. I just wanted them to hurry up and end this and serve the food. I got what I wanted out of it. They got what they wanted out of it. So people are not stupid either."
Wow, that's really good.
Oh, man. All right. That's our show for this evening. Thank you all for listening. Please help us out on patreon.com/Mamluks. This is an ad-free podcast, but we want to make sure we throw a shout out to someone who we all donate to in this group with Sheikh Amir and Sheikh Omar here. We all have a trusted individual who doesn't take a cut of your donation. His organization is called Heroic Hearts, and most of our donations go to him. It's hchearts.org. Check out his website. It's a very transparent, easy to navigate website with shopping carts and stuff where you can pick the amount you want to donate to which cause, to which region, and really lets you have control over where your money is being directed to. And we know him personally, and we know that he has his full-time job, and this is his side gig where he devotes it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we really hope that you guys consider donating to him.
He didn't even ask us to do this, bro.
Yeah.
He never asked us, mashallah. So
yeah, all right, that's all from us this evening. We'll see you all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
I want their leader brought here. I want him brought to me. I want the revolution crushed.